So let's talk a little bit about what we eat in terms of reducing aging or sort of reducing that biological clock. What are the best things to eat?
I know it sounds a little bit repetitive, but it is individual, but you can make some generalizations. So, first of all, the individual differences are obvious. There's your body type, but also your gender. And I think just as important, your physique. If you are into bodybuilding or you're an athlete professionally, that's very different than someone like me who's just using their brain and their fingers to make a living. So that there's that consideration. And there are hacks that I'm helping develop that allows you to be in the adversity state, which is what we were describing, eating less, consuming less protein. That's the adversity state, that's longevity. But then have periods where you can have an abundant state. And so perhaps I would suggest trying on days that you work out, assuming you're not a professional athlete, having some extra protein, eat a little bit of fish, for example. But mostly for that adversity state, you want to be focused on plants. Why is that? Because plants have less available amino acids. Your body has to work harder to get them out. But they also have a ratio of amino acids that turns on some of these defenses that I'm talking about. A very important one is called mTOR, little m, capital T-O-R. And it's there to sense how much protein you're taking in. And if it's always sensing that you're eating protein, it will not turn on the survival pathway that leads to longevity. So you'll look good if you're always eating protein because your body is, I got plenty of energy, let's go for it, let's grow. But if you never have that state of want, that adversity, I'm convinced, and the data shows it from population studies, that a carnivorous diet isn't a longevity producing diet in the long run, right? But in the short run, of course, you'll feel better. And a lot of people argue with me saying, I feel great, how could this be wrong? But remember, life is long. You want to look at ways that will extend your lifespan 2, 3, 4 decades from now. But I think you can have both. I think that it's all about pulsing it, doing adversity, and then occasionally having the abundance as well.
And you mentioned a Mediterranean diet earlier. Is there anything that we've learned about what we know about what we eat and like high fat versus low carb versus all of this stuff that to maximize our longevity?
Yeah, so the amazing thing about the state of knowledge of humanity right now is that over the last few thousand years, humans have figured out to eat less often. There are states of fasting, most religions do that, but also the types of foods. Mediterranean diet is a good example. There's the Okinawan diet, which is a Japanese island that has mostly plants and a little bit of fish, but mostly it's not overeating, and there's not huge amounts of animal fat and animal products and dairy in a typical long-lived population that I just described. So that we've known for a long time, and it's crazy that we're debating this. Mediterranean diet is just known to be healthy, and vegetarian and vegan diets are also conducive to longevity. But the other thing that's amazing about our state of knowledge is that people like me have discovered genes that control aging. Sirtuins are the ones that we work on, this mTOR gene that I mentioned. Those diets are turning on those defenses that we discovered not because we were studying diets, because we were studying yeast cells and worms and fruit flies. But now we understand in this unified theory of aging that by eating these types of foods, you're making the body think that times are tough, turning on the defenses that for the long run will be conducive to longevity and forestall these diseases that will kill us. And in the short run, you'll actually feel better, and in terms of body composition, you'll actually look better too.
Now, assuming we're eating let's say a green pepper or red pepper, is there a difference between organic and inorganic, or ones that have undergone stress and ones that haven't undergone stress in terms of how our body processes that?
Yeah, for sure. The other reason to be focusing more on plants is that they make molecules that are very healthy for us. And again, we scientists have figured out that those molecules aren't just being antioxidants. That's the theory of the 1980s. What we've realized is that in addition to being antioxidants, they actually turn on those longevity pathways, the sirtuins, They work on mTOR. There's another one called AMPK, which senses blood sugar and energy. And by eating plants that, in general, make these molecules, and especially plants that are stressed themselves or have adversity, which heightens the amount of these molecules production, we can ingest them and trick our bodies into thinking that there is adversity, right? We've evolved, I believe, this is my theory with Conrad Howard's, is that we're sensing the plant world, and when our food supply might run out, we need to defend our bodies against the environment, and that leads to longer life. And the theory came from our discovery that resveratrol from red wine and 19 other plant molecules that are produced by plants when they're stressed turn on these sirtuin defenses. And we're trying to figure out, how is that possible? Is it just a coincidence? And then we came up with this theory that we've evolved to sense our food supply.